Imagine you're playing a game with a four-sided die. Those of you that are into basketball might recognize this game, but you do not have to know anything about basketball to understand this game. This again is a four-sided die. If you roll a 2, 3, or 4, you're done. You get no points. You don't get another try. If you roll a 1, hey, that's good. First off, you get a point. And then you get a chance to get a second point by rolling the die again. And again, if you get a 1, you'll get a second point. If you get a 2, 3, or 4, you don't get a second point. You don't get a third chance. Okay, you can maybe roll the die twice, but that's it. So you roll the die the first time, you get a 2, 3, or 4, done. If you get a 1, hey, you get a point, and you get a chance to do the same thing again and get a second point. That's the whole game. Noticing this means you can get no points. You can get, if you make the second one, because you get a chance, you can either get 1 point if you fail, or you can get 2 points, total of 2 points, if you make the second one. 1 point from the first one and 1 point from the second one. That's the whole game. Let's find the probability of no points, the probability of 1 point, and the probability of 2 points. Those are all of our possibilities. So we're going to start with a tree. Don't try to do this with a square. It gets confusing. Actually, it's not too hateful, but let's do it with a tree anyway. Trees make more sense. Okay, so this represents the first roll. And you're either going to get a 1, which is going to happen 1/4 of the time, or you might say 25%. Or you're going to get a 2, 3, or 4, and that's going to happen 3/4 of the time, or 75% of the time. These are the only two things that can happen. You can get a 1, looks like a snake eye, or you can get a 2, 3, or 4. If you get a 2, 3, or 4, you're done.
Done. Done. There is no branch. You're done. Okay.
Lost on first try. That's no points. And that's going to happen 75% of the time, or 3/4
of the time. Bummer.
If you get a 1 on the first die, then you're going to roll the die again. And again, you're either going to get a 1, which is going to happen 25% of the time, or 1/4. You can get a 2, a 3, or a 4. And that's going to happen 3/4 of the time, or 75% of the time. So we can get a 1/1, which is again 2 points. Yay! And that's either going to be 1/4 times 1/4, which is 1/16, or it's going to be 0.25 times 0.25, which is 6.25%. 0.25 times 0.25 is 0.0625, or 6.25%. And then down here, this is a 1, then basically not 1. And that's going to be worth 1 point. And that's going to be 1/4 times 3/4, which is 3/16, or in decimal form, that's 0.25 times 0.75. And that is 18.75%. I'm going off the top of the board. 18.75%. Now, if we add those two together, we will get 25%, which is everything left after that, 75%. Notice also 1/16 plus 3/16 is 4/16, which simplifies to be a 4th. And when we combine that with 3/4, we get a whole. So again, going back to our question, the probability of no points was 75%, or 3/4, or 75%. The probability of getting 1 point was right here. That was a 1, then a not 1. That's the only way you can get 1 point, is to get a 1 on the first try and then not make the second one. And that happens 3/16 of the time, or 18.75. I'm going to call that, because I'm out of space here, I'm going to call that 19%. Then 2 points happens 1/16 of the time, or I'm going to call that 6%. And notice 19 plus 6 is 25, plus 75 gives us 100%. And again, those fractions add up to be 4/4, or 1 whole. So let's repeat that experiment with our, I know you're getting sick of them, shampoo lids. I hope you remember that probability of flat was 36%, and probability of wobbly was 64%. So let's call wobbly a win. Ooh, so you're really pretty likely to get a second try, because that happens a lot more often than that does. So if you get a flat on the first roll, you lose, done. No points. Boy, that was harsh, Loom.
That was really harsh.
If you get a wobbly, you get a point. Yay! And you get a second chance. Okay, remember, no third chances, but you could get a second chance. And if you get that one, it could be potentially another point. I'm going to put a question mark there, because there's no promises that you'll get the second point. So again, let's find the probability of no points, the probability of 1 point, and the probability of 2 points. There's our challenge. We got wobbly, which happens 64% of the time. No fractions are going to work this. No, well, we could, but you really want to deal with 64% is 16/25. Do you want to deal with that? Really? Or flat is going to happen 36% of the time. Remember now, if you get flat, you lose, no points, and that's going to happen 36% of the time. But if you get a wobbly, well, then you could get another wobbly, and that'll happen 64% of the time. Or you could get a flat. That's going to happen 36% of the time. Well, this is wobbly wobbly. That's 2 points. What percent of the time is that going to happen? And wobbly then flat, that's 1 point. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to hit pause. I want you to get out your calculator or a phone or something, and I want you to figure out the probability of getting 2 points and the probability of getting 1 point. I'll wait. All right, good, you're back. All right. So to get the probability of 2 points, we're going to do 0.64 times 0.64. And that gives us, we're going to call that 41%. And the probability of wobbly then flat, which is worth 1 point, is going to be 0.64 times 0.36. And we're going to call that 23%. And you know, 1, 3, and 6, that makes 10. And 1, 2, 3, and 4 gives us 10. Okay, so that's 100% when we add those together. So back to our original question. The probability of no points is 36% of the time. We're going to get no points. Probability of no points is 36%. Probability of 1 point, 23%. Probability of 2 points, 41%. And that's today's lesson. Enjoy your homework. Bye-bye.